Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of As Told by Us. Before we start, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for pressing play on our episode. We recently celebrated our 2nd year birthday.
Yay! Send us cake money
on our inbox.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I think we're over 3K in like streams and all of that. Woo! So yeah, it gives us motivation. Now, hopefully if you like the podcast, you'll send some inbox. Right. So I'm sure you've seen the episode today. It's more of a rant session because why are we still at home, guys? Why are we still living at home? One, don't mind the chicken. The chicken is like literally our 6th member. I don't know if anyone has noticed, guys. The chicken is our 6th member.
It literally waits for us to start recording.
Literally.
Yeah.
I've never physically seen this.
Even me, I've actually never physically seen it.
Alrighty. I hope now it'll give us some time. So the discussion is all around staying at home past the age of 25. So I'm sure most of us, when you left university or whatever, you thought, okay, I'm just going to work for like a year. I'm going to move out. I'm going to live in my little apartment and buy my own things and all of that. But yeah, it's been kind of like 6, 7, 8, 9 years now. And we haven't moved out. So I think let's just go around because obviously some people don't live at home.
Who is the
Some people.
Some people are...
Okay, I'll start. I did live at home after 25. But then I was very lucky to get a job in another city. And that's the only way that I was able to justify leaving my parents' household as an unmarried young woman. Yeah, that's me.
Something interesting that you say is unmarried young woman. Do you guys think that the issue with moving out of our parents' households has to do with us being women?
Partly. It just makes it worse because I know my parents outright said, no, you're only coming out of here through marriage. They literally said if I got an apartment in Blues, they were going to come and take me out. Because I remember even asking to say, what if I moved out? And they were like, no, we'll literally come and take you back.
Both of them, or it was just the one?
Both of them. I mean, apart from it being an expense, they didn't believe that's a thing.
Okay. I think you can go to.
Sorry, what was I about to say? I think it's a 2-tiered situation. Number one, being an unmarried young woman. Just the assumption is that you're moving out because you want to go and
Have sex.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was just gonna say you want to be naughty. Like you want to go to a place where there's no rules and there's no, supervision. That's the first.
To have sex.
Why does everybody always think that that's the case?
Sometimes that's what the parents are thinking. That's
like
what that's what you're saying.
Anyway. And then the second aspect is economic. Just in the sense that living in Zim, with the salaries that are, market value salaries, it's not economically viable to just move out and to move out to a place that I want to. I could move out, but it would be to like a place that is not ideal for what I'm looking for when I'm moving out of home and going to my own place. I don't want to have to share a bathroom or to share a house. Like maybe a flat is fine, sharing with my friends, but I don't want to have to like share with strangers and then, because that's the kind of accommodation I'd be able to afford on, on a Harare, Zimbabwe salary,
And then the question would be, who's paying your rent if you're able to go to these nice places? I think that would be a question my mom would ask. She'd be like, oh, okay, you're moving out. Where are you moving out to? And how much are you paying rent? Can you afford that?
Yeah.
Who's paying your rent?
Exactly. Because that's another thing. I suppose it goes back to what Kuda was saying, that the parents just think, you're moving out to have sex, right? Because no, listen, if I'm going to move out to a place where my family knows this one can't even afford, the assumption is I have someone helping me, someone who they don't know, someone who is in the background, a shady individual, because also that's the culture in the country. I don't know if I could say at the moment, but the culture is that a lot of young women who seem to be living lavish have,
Can I ask a legit question? But obviously our parents listen to this, so you tell me if you want to answer the question. But do they actually know how much you get paid?
Mine does, yeah.
The real number.
Mine did when I was at home.
Mine, they know a ballpark. They know it's around that amount.
Okay, because then why I'm saying this is, if let's say I get an apartment, my mom asks me how much is it, say it's $700. If she knows how much I'm getting paid, the exact amount, then she will be like, okay, I'm sure she can afford it. But if where it's I don't know how much she gets paid, but she's going to go pay $700, I'm not entirely sure those two will tally. That must mean there's somebody else paying. But if you know how much I'm getting paid, it shouldn't be a shock to you. But I can also understand that a lot of us don't disclose to our parents, and for good reasons, if we're being honest. We don't disclose that figure.
How much you're getting paid.
How, the real, unless you're saying it could be a ballpark, I'm getting paid, between 1 and 1.5, but you don't know exactly how much. That way, it also gives me a bit of leeway. If I say I don't have money for something, I'm not being asked to.
She's not
detail
calculating
how much I'm being paid.
Yeah, but still, I think if we're talking about over 25s, a lot of people, if they have a job, it's entry-level job. And I don't know many people in entry-level jobs who are even getting 1 full K. If you're doing better off, you maybe are getting 2K a month. But most people's incomes is just not there. And that's just a situational thing. So now if your daughter is saying, I'm moving to a townhouse in Newlands.
Yeah, you're going to have questions. You're going to be houseway. You see, because the rent in those areas, like in the 9th Street, is already $1,000 up.
It's just unrealistic for anyone to live there, because if you look at who's actually living in those apartments, it's people who either are on a job that pays for the apartment, or it's foreigners who are paying, because they're paying over $1,000 for a month's worth of rent. It doesn't make sense.
But if you're two and you're sharing, could you not?
2 friends.
Yeah.
But also, guys, why are we sharing as 2 friends over 25? That's a uni, that's a uni setup.
But I guess that's the life we're living, though. I think it's your now opportunity cost, because do you really, really want to move out of home? And if so, you're not going to be thinking, oh, I'm sharing with someone. You'll be thinking, this is my freedom, finally.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's wrong, because I shared moving out, but I'm just saying that that's how terrible the situation is.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a place like, say, Joburg, apartments are for our age, where we're at the apartment building and we've got gate codes
amenities.
And whatnot. We can't even,
And you know what? Funny enough, now that if you say that, if we were to cross over, we could all have apartments, 2-3 bedrooms by ourselves.
That we are either paying for to own or already own.
Or already owned by ourselves. I don't need to share a 3-bedroom apartment.
And without being a side chick to a married
Without being a side chick also. But economically, if you are to get your own space, if you're not getting a cottage, which is also something I cannot do.
Yes, this is exactly what I was saying. That's what's affordable.
That's what
a cottage.
A cottage in somebody else's house where they also live, and you're thinking that what difference does it make? Because at the same time, I can't just be opening and closing the gate because I feel like it. I can't have people over.
Just say it.
That's what you wanted to say.
Over what? Oh, I can't have sex. No, I can't. Guys, that's not hard. Even in your mother's house, if you want to do it, you can. But the point is, the freedom that you're looking for to be able to even, let's say, go out and come back 11, 12, 3 a.m. And so this is somebody else's house.
Yeah, they're gonna be inconvenienced by your movements as well.
Do you see? You can't have friends over and say on a Saturday, let me just have all my friends, let's do a braai. I can't do that still. So it's like, what freedom are you really going to get, right? Unless you get an apartment. And then if you get an apartment, you probably have to share if you want at least a decent one where there's water and electricity. If not, because you also can't you can't also put like solar panels in somebody else's house. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I can't start
because you're improving someone else's asset. Like,
you see? If I want, let's say, a place in town where I know there's probably guaranteed electricity, maybe water, even then that's also, we're not sure, but maybe, all right, it's expensive. If you live out of town and it's cheaper to live, you don't have electricity and you have no water.
power.
So it just already makes it hard. So you think maybe being at home is just easier, it's better, and like
you don't have to pay rent.
You don't have to pay rent, but I don't know, like I kind of feel like I pay rent. I mean,
in the sense that you help out at home, like with groceries, and but you see, that's an expense that you would have still had if you lived on your own, because you're also buying.
Yeah, but my grocery bill would have been less. If I lived at home, if I lived by myself, my grocery bill would be absolutely not like, I wouldn't even say half, probably even more than half if I was by myself. But also because I'm not thinking, like, I can have a girl dinner anytime, right? And I'm not thinking, oh, people actually need to eat actual rice, meat, and a vegetable of some, you know what I mean? Like, those are not thoughts that would then have crossed my mind. So if it's...
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Like, I know I have to eat, but what I'm saying is, I don't, like, at my house, every day, every dinner is a meal, right? Like a full meal.
Like, you can't have a cheese and crackers for dinner.
Why are you doing that?
I can't do that at my house. My mom, like, everyone, when they come back from work, they're waiting, where's dinner? And what is dinner? Dinner's food. And even if nobody eats, like, it could be a situation where...
I hear you. What I'm saying is, why are you not going to eat a meal? That's just you.
Oh no, I don't think I will eat a meal every day, is what I'm saying. I think there'll be days where I'm like, I don't feel like cooking.
Yeah.
Let me just do cereal. Or let me do crackers. Let me do popcorn. I don't know. So I do think that even the bills that I pay now at home would be significantly less if I was on my own.
Is that, do you think, part of the reason why it's difficult to leave home? Because people maybe rely on that provision?
For me, that was a big thing. There was a time I thought, let me go. And then I thought, okay, if I go, my instinct was I would have to pay what I'm paying for myself and for home. Like, it was too far gone at the point where now to go back to say to my mom, oh, you have to take back your bills. I couldn't do that anymore because I had taken over them for so long
right? That she, and at this point, I'm pretty sure she doesn't even remember how to pay a lot of them. So now to say, hey, I'm going, bye, see you.
What do you think your mom, how do you think she would react though if you were to do that? To say, I'm leaving and therefore I'm not going to go pay for my internet at my house.
Hey there, lovely listeners. So listen, running a podcast in Zimbabwe is quite the journey. It requires resources. And when I say resources, I mean money, time, and effort. Wondering how you can support us? Well, we've got you covered with Inbucks. Or World Remit if you're on the other side of the world and you'd love to contribute. Our Inbucks number is 077 810 3171. Whether it's the cost of a cup of coffee or a virtual high five, every little bit of your support counts. Remember, supporting our podcast isn't about funding our caffeine addiction, though it is in part, but your support keeps our podcast alive and thriving and helps us create more content, ensuring that our laughter echoes through your devices. Thanks again for being part of our community and for listening.
I might buy you the occasional groceries.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, it's not going to be every month that I'm doing this.
To be
How do you
fair, I
actually
don't
react?
think she would react badly. I don't think she would. I think I would. And I was my biggest hope because I'm just thinking, how is she going to? And like I'm saying, she hasn't had to do it. So now, for me, the struggle was just also letting go of her to say, so what is she going to do?
Yeah.
If I go, what is she going to do?
Yeah. I think that's the push and pull of it, in the sense that you do want to move out, but at the same time, when you are at home, you've taken up a lot of responsibility. So financial responsibility, especially if you have like a single parent, you then find yourself being, I've told my mom this, like I think I told her like last week, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm now your husband.
Yeah, no, for
I feel like I'm now your husband.
Yeah.
I am covering way too much. I'm so, like, I'm stretched over
Yes.
what a daughter should be doing. And she was like, don't say that. And we laughed about it. But at the end of the day, it's the truth. At the end of the day, it's the truth. So now when you want to say, I want to move out, I'm sure in their heads, they're also thinking, once this person goes, then they're probably not going to be able to contribute as much as they were contributing. Because now I will have a rental to think of. I need to think, okay, I've got this money that I now need to apportion to my own life, which can't be put into the family chunk or whatever. So I guess in a sense, I feel like that's why they kind of like discourage us, because they know that once, quote, the breadwinner or someone who's contributing a lot leaves the house, then they're not going to be contributing as much, right? So I don't know. It's very tricky in the sense that, like what Kuda is saying, you also then have guilt playing on your emotions to say, you know what, I do want to move out, but when I do move out, obviously I'm going to have all this freedom and I want to now use my money for certain things that I would want. But at the same time, those things that I want, I won't be able to give to the people I've left at home. So I guess that's the problem when you're like, okay, I've made enough, but at the same time, I still want to contribute to the home thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying I beg to differ, because I feel like if I was to move out, I would have way less responsibility.
Yeah, that is
I would be like, okay, guys, I can't do this.
What about being at home over 25, but you have no income? I feel like that's
I feel like mental health wise, that's the
I actually think it's worse.
Yeah.
And when I say worse, I think particularly for the generation of our parents, right, where we have some of our parents that managed to, let's say, have at least a higher education. Obviously, their education system was also very different.
Yeah.
Their Zimbabwe was also very different.
Yeah.
So whether you finished at grade 7, Form 2, Form 4, or even then
could get a
went to
job.
uni,
Yeah.
they started working really early,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of the conversations in my house, like with my mom, she would be like, oh, when I was at home, I was paying the maid and I was buying all the groceries and I was buying all the electricity. Like that stuff that she did also, which also obviously for me is like, okay, well, I guess that's the expectation for me as well. Because she did that when she was 22, when she was 19, when she was 24, you know? I'm well over my 30s now, where it's like,
Well,
I'm past and I'm not comfortable in my 30s, right? That it can't be a thing where if she was doing it at 19 and 21 and whatever, obviously she's now looking at me like, you even went to uni, you even have all these degrees and you have a, you know, so why aren't you? And I think it's even worse when she is supporting you, right? You have no income, your parents are supporting you, they're paying for everything. Can you imagine having to say like, we are out of something,
And you can't help.
we are out of bread, and having to say to your mom in the morning before she goes to
I
work,
want to go out.
Can I have $1 for chinga?
or you want to say it's a Saturday, please can I have your car so that I can go see my friends?
Please, also to pay my refuel.
I can imagine the conversations that happen if worse if she's like in a bad mood and it's like, so you want to use my car, you want to go and use my fuel, and you want to my car, who's going to service my car, and you and your friends are dirty, and like it becomes like a thing where it's like, okay, it's fine, never mind, you know. And I can just already your mental health will not be okay, and because they sometimes lash out or say whatever's on their mind, and then maybe eventually they think about it later like, maybe I went too harsh, and then they say, oh, but what was that, you know, and they start trying to like bribe you, but what the damage's been done. And I'm thinking that's worse, that's far worse. I'd rather be the one to turn around and say, oh, who's paying for that? I'm not paying, you know. But because if they come to me and they're asking me for money, I'd rather be the one on that side of the power trip than on the other side.
True.
I remember, when was it? Maybe like a few weeks ago, I posted this like little clip of a little kitten, and it was like, living at home and all of the problems you encounter when you're like over 25. So one of my friends he then commented on that video, and he was just saying it's very difficult when you're not making your own money or anything, because they then see you as a child. So let's say you went to university and everything, and then you came back and you're now living under their roof. Those rules that you had when you left and you were 18 are still the rules that now apply to you as a 25, 26, 27-year-old. And he was just saying, I had a curfew. And I was like, bro, he's like, I needed to be home. Yes, it's a he. He's like, I needed to be home by 6, I think. Yeah. And then he's like, there was very little freedom and I always had to do the chores. And I'm just thinking, not having that money or not having like followed the route that your parents expect you to follow, you're then seen as a child. You're someone who can't like take care of themselves or contribute in any way to the conversation. So to be like, adults are speaking, you chill.
But also worse still, I'm thinking like you also then have to make it up in like chores, right? Like you have to be the one that does all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the dishes, all the laundry, you know, and you can't be like, I'm tired.
You're essentially the maid, because they're also going to be like, why should we pay for a maid when you're here chilling the whole day? No, for real.
And then you're right.
And for sure.
And that work is a lot, hey?
You
like
end up being the
housework
maid.
is a lot of work, and you do get tired. And I'm thinking, if you say, I'm just too tired. I'll do this in an hour.
There's no freedom.
You don't get it.
What are you doing here? You spend the whole day sitting. I can just hear it. Shame.
Let me chime in.
Hi, Six.
Hello, guys. I think I have a bit of maybe a kind of a unique setup because like I don't technically live at home because my parents they're farmers and they stay in Gweru. So that's their whole thing. So I'm not doing that. I love the farm. I mean, it's fun, but hey, it gets to a point where like, come on, man. But then right now I'm sort of at like this is my grandmother's place, right? And she just happens to have like multiple cottages, right? And she's like now in her 80s. And it just so happened that the time when I was planning to be like out is when COVID hit. And she kind of needed someone around, right? It just so happened that like, since I'm a creative, since I already make music and I have my equipment and stuff already, it was just like, okay, let me kind of create a situation where I get to do what I do and handle responsibilities at home. So some of the properties are managed by my dad. So namely this cottage in particular. So I pay rent for this cottage to my dad. It is very much a landlord. Very much so. But then for me, it's kind of like kind of contributing at home in a way. So it's like I have to send money home every month. And then here, like I obviously have a space to work from, but also I pay for the Wi-Fi and I contribute to groceries. And obviously, errands. Like I have to drive, I have to drive my grandma around because she can't drive anymore. So I kind of have to be the one to be like, oh, I take her to church. If she needs to go to the bank, if she needs to go to the shops, that sort of thing. So.
And what would happen if we moved out and left Gogo by herself?
Yo.
I don't even.
Do you feel that guilt? You know what I mean? Where it's like, I can't. Even if I wanted to. Didn't even.
Yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. Hey, no, like
because Gogo does rely on you. You know, it's you and her.
Yeah.
So who else is gonna?
So she always goes like, says like, you know what, we can actually give you this cottage and like you're gonna have. I'm like, one day I'm gonna have to kind of, move, but
you bring her here.
That's the thing. But
yeah, you bring your wife here.
Yeah, I bring my wife here. But yeah, so
shaking my head profusely. No.
Yeah. So in my situation, like, but I will say the more responsibility I took on, the more respect I got. So it's like I don't like. There was a time, like just slightly after uni, where it was like I wasn't really contributing because I didn't have the money to contribute or anything like that. And that's when you would have like the curfew talk and stuff like that. But when you start making your own money, like nobody.
Like they don't care.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up a little.
But you
makes sense, but it's also messed up.
But I don't know how your guys' like extended family set up, but think about your aunties and uncles that don't contribute as much.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And the level of respect they get, even from their own siblings, where it's like you really don't even include them in conversation. They would rather come to now ask the adult grandkids that work and ask like, oh, we need this done, we need this done, we need this done, before they even go to your auntie or your uncle, who they already know, their own sibling, can't even start being in the conversation because what are they going to do? Then they'll skip that generation, just come to y'all and say, guys, we need this for the house, we need this for the household, for go for whatever, but you already know that there's members of the family who are much older than you who just don't get any respect or consideration, except when now it's maybe like Six is saying, say you have that one uncle who doesn't do anything but can drive. Then it would be like, he will take over to the appointments without even asking him if he's available. It's just he has to be. What else is he doing?
Stop everything you're doing if you are doing anything.
And that's his job. But he's not asked where she will go. He's not asked what kind, be there for the treatments and things. None of those conversations come up. And I do think, maybe that is the side of black tax also, that we inadvertently go into, right? Where it's not just your own family, but it's also extended family. And your money is not just for you and your household, it's also for the entire family. Once you start making it, and then it becomes, if there's a gogo who's sick, everybody has to pitch in. If there is an auntie or an uncle who's sick, everybody has. If there's a cousin who needs something, even if it's just, Ashairo, Maria school fees, everybody has to contribute. Even you who has that entry level job, who is not making as much, but you now have a job. So that's part of the black tax, and we are all a family, so we must all help each other out.
And also it lands a lot of us in sometimes in debt, because you have situations like I remember, I think like 3 months ago, like my mom had like a immigration issue, because Zim is a bit crazy when it comes to like citizenship issues and all that. So they gave us like sort of like an unrealistic timeline, and we had to pay for like certain part of the immigration, right? Then so I just get home one day and it's just like, yo, we need X amount in the next 24 hours. And I was like, yo, if this was like in the next 2 weeks type of situation, I can do that. 24 hours. What you mean? But then I had to make a plan, because it was just like, yo, if I don't make a plan, it's like it's gonna be crazy. So, but then obviously it obviously messes up like your financials maybe for that month, but you end up figuring it out. But it's quite stressful, the black tax.
And it's you have a roof over your head, so how can you not have the money to give us? Because you're providing the roof
and you're eating.
So you're saving on rentals. So how can you not have the money to bail us out now? Okay, so what I'm hearing is that it's so late for us to move out.
That's never too late. Yeah, never too late.
So my question would be now, how do you see independence being someone who's like living at home? What do you say? Okay, this is mine, or
what's your question?
I said, how do you see independence?
To be honest, for me, being able to compare from when I was at home I remember the day or the week when I moved into my own apartment in Harare, and I was like, this is the first time I've had my life. Like, it's me. What I'm eating today, when I wake up tomorrow, everything is just on me. And it felt so good. So whatever little piece of freedom, they take it away from you. You don't have it. There's no privacy. You can't be sad on a day and not have to answer 100 questions. You can't take a bit longer in your room than you used to, because everyone will notice that something is wrong. There's no off days.
Thank you.
So I think it's really sad, because this is not normal. This is not normal. It's not normal. We should be able to, because it's so different. You have space to find yourself, to really be yourself and actually know what that is. Where you're not like in a setup where anything happens. I don't know about you guys, but there's always visitors at my house. So not only are you dealing with being at home, but someone is coming. There's something happening. And once that happens, everything is upside down. Everything is about that visitor. You have to do things. And then you also have to work. So certain cultures just don't make sense, because like with law, that work doesn't stop. Anytime you've got clients with this, then they don't understand. No, man.
Yeah, exactly what Amma said. I think even just like the lack of boundaries. Being at home, there's no boundaries. And this is a conversation that I continuously have with my mom. It's so slow for it to really land. I need to just have boundaries. Like the examples you were giving, so peak. I can't get home and just go straight to my room. Maybe I just had a long day. I have to I was gonna say Maneru Chichichi. And then if I spend too long again, maybe decompressing, whatever, it's like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And my mom is always, are you angry? What's wrong? What did you do? Nothing, dog. I'm just having a day where I just wanna be silent. I wanna chill. I wanna be in my room and I don't want to talk to anyone. And that should be okay sometimes, right? But then you cannot do that. You cannot do that. I think there was a one time where there's a period where like I'd be working really late, right? And again, there was just not that understanding because they were so used to me coming home at a certain time during the week, right? So maybe by 6 o'clock I'm home. But then there was a week where, I'm just inundated, right? And I'm coming home at like 7:30, whatever. Then it's like, why? Why are you coming home late? It's because I'm trying to finish off my work. Like I'm trying to just be on top of my work.
Mm-hmm.
That need to explain. I absolutely hate that need to always like be over explaining myself. No, it's because someone left the job and now I have to pick up on their slack. So this is why I'm working extra time. But why do I need to explain that? I can just text you and say, look, I'm working late, and that should be okay. But there's no space.
Boundaries.
There's no space. Like you're not given space to just be yourself and to be responsible for yourself. Unfortunately, when you live at home, I think.
I don't know. I think my situation has kind of gotten better in the sense that I live my life. If I'm going to tell you I'm going somewhere, it's my decision to tell you what time I'm coming back.
Mm-hmm.
If you blow up my phone, you're blowing up my phone. I'll be home when I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I ask, because for lots of people over 25, it's not like they're going to move out anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So how can they be able to have that independence at home? Because
Can I say something quite controversial? But it's something that worked for me. And that was just piss them off until they just get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to do to an extent, especially when I came back from uni. And even then, like I was still a bit more outgoing also, right? So if I was to go out and you ask me what time I come back, my answer was always, I don't know. Right. And my mom obviously would be like, what do you mean you don't know? You don't know. Like, let's have a time.
I'm not planning.
And I'm like, okay, if you want a definite time, I'll definitely be home before 6 a.m. in the morning. I definitely know that. I can't tell you anything else before that. And it just got to the point where I think, even if she said, well, be home by 11, I'm not going to be. Both you and I know I will not be home before 11. And then at 11, maybe she'll stop blowing up my phone. Eventually, by 2 o'clock, she's going to be sleeping. And it just got to the point where for a long time, and some of it obviously would be viewed as you're being disrespectful, you're not being, nice. But it also had to be a retraining for her to say, you now have adult children who you have also insisted should live at home. But if we are going to do this, let's work together. Let's work together. So it then worked out. I mean, now I'm less outgoing, so I'm always at home now. It just works out for her. Yeah. But
you also tired yourself out.
Even me, I'm also tired. But look at how it then works for my sister, where she's not on her case either. She's just, I think I finished it all out of her. That by the time my sister came back from uni, my mom was just like, just be safe and be good.
It's your God-given duty and role as a firstborn child. Because I won't lie, I've had it easier than to having all the siblings. So you guys carry the burden of training and traumatizing the parents so that they calm down.
And even how like you guys are saying with like being like not having to explain yourself. For us, it's good enough to say, so we have a group chat at home. It's good enough to say, I'm working late and I'll be home later. Like my mom will not require anything else for it. As long as she knows you're safe, you're okay, you're fine. That's like, she's not going to ask for any further explanation. She's not going to ask for, if you're, let's say, obviously though you have to work around living with people in general, where like if you are coming home late, you should just let them know that you are coming home late. If you then come home from work, the nice thing to do is to just go say hello and then go decompress the rest of your night in bed. You know, no one's forcing you to like, let's all sit to the lounge and talk stories. It's just, hello, okay, I'm off now, I'm in my room. And you can then do that. There is that balance of, I think sometimes some of the things that we are looking for are kind of like, but when you're living with people, you also have to
be a person.
Right? You know, like be someone who's also easy to be with. Even if it was, think about it, even if it's not your mom, but it is your roommate, for example, your housemate, you still have to at least be communicative enough so that that person knows how to navigate their own life, right? If you are married and you have a partner, you can't just be like, oh, I'm not coming. I'm doing what I want. Like, what do you mean? Like, if you want to be with people, then also learn to live with people. But there is a retraining that our parents have to go through because also, like I'm saying, they lived in a different generation. We kind of have to give them a bit of grace because they probably had curfews of 4 o'clock. Like, we would be like 6, but theirs was when streetlights come on, you know? And it's just... I think you have to learn how to retrain them for 2025, but also be someone who's also livable with.
Yeah, but also, you know, I think it's one thing to train a parent. It's another for them to also accept and see you for where you are, right? Yeah. So, for example, you're 28, like whether you're working or not, as a parent, you need to just be able to say, okay, shit, my kid is an adult now. Because for them, when they were 28 and whatever, fine, they were already married, 2-3 kids down the line. But things are different now. And there should be an awareness of that difference to say, okay, well, yeah, my kids are, you know, over the age of 25, they're still at home, where maybe they were not at home by 25 already, right? They were already married, doing whatever they were doing. But things are so different now because you also want to preach the thing or the gospel of, oh, you know, don't rush into this marriage thing, whatever. But then at the same time, you kind of want to treat me like a kid when I'm still at home. So there needs to be while as children, we need to train our parents, but the parents need to also see us as we are and to also be able to say, you know what, this is an adult, I'll respect them, their space, and whatever they need. Because I always say this to my mom, like, I'm at the age where I don't want you to parent me like a child, right? What you're supposed to be here for is now to just play a supportive role in whatever it is that I decide to do with my life. So if I were to decide to go and, I don't know, whatever, do crazy, like live crazy, it's no longer for you to be telling me what's right and what's not right, because I've already, you know.
But just that.
Right now, because I teach kids right?
You don't live with them.
We don't live with them.
But you need to
matter to me. The only people that matter to me are my parents and my family. Everybody else, we don't, you know, think what you... And that's the thing. That's why I'm saying, as a parent, you should be able to support me. And even if the church people say, we're annoying you, we saw her doing this and this, then you can just be like, yeah, that's what she's decided to do with her life, and I'm going to support her. That's it. That's it.
I feel like if you're contributing to the household, you've also graduated in terms of like the level of like things that you can do because you're no longer a dependent per se. You know, so for example, if like my grandma expects me to be like, because in a lot of ways I'm kind of like the man of the house. So I have to fix stuff. I'll be like fixing like a bowl or whatever, or a generator or something like that. So like it's kind of crazy to give me a curfew because it's like, look, like I put fuel in the car, I fixed the car. Like what you mean a curfew? But there obviously is that respect, you know, as a person. Like, okay, I'm going out. I'll be back. If you encounter some trouble, just be like, oh, I might be back a bit later than whatever you expect, etc, etc. So that then just comes down to communication. But the frustrating thing, you guys actually that you brought up was like that whole thing of like the personal space sort of thing. Because sometimes like I just want silence. Like even just like when I'm eating, like I just don't talk to me. Like just leave me alone. Like I just want to eat. So then now like peeps have like, and you know, like my grandma loves this. There's this DNA show, like this Tinashe Mgabe show every day. And I'm like, yo, she's like, yo, so this case today is like this. I'm like, I do not feel like talking about this or anything else in particular. But hey, I have to do this. So I guess that's a form of tax. Like, yeah, you have to.
You think white people go through this? Yeah,
Yes.
but it's more social than the financial part of it. But even some financial, but also more social, where they want to hang out. But they also do move out early
on.
and
some
marry
don't.
early.
But I think maybe there's an understanding in that community that this one is an adult, let them be. But I think in the African community, it's, you know, again, if you don't contribute, you're just a child. If you eat the food and you don't put anything on the table, you're always going to be a child in their eyes.
Yeah, but I did like what you said, Chido, about having a discussion with your parents. I think that's what we usually don't do. So like if whoever's you're living with them says, oh no, I expect you to be home by 6, or I expect you to do this and the other. It's more of, because I need to respect this person, I then just keep it to myself and I don't explain. To be like, you know what, let's sit down.
Let's actually interrogate this.
Now, which I also did with my mom. After we came back from school and everything, she did try the curfew thing, and I was like, bruh, it ain't gonna work for me. Because at the same time, 6 o'clock, who's out at 6? My friends are out past that time. So how am I going to hang out with them? If you want me to have a social life, then you should also consider that. You need to push your times. And then it went to 9, and then 9, and then I said, are you sure about that? And then after some time, I just realized, you know what, I'll be home when I'm home.
Are you sure about that?
I'll be home when I'm home. She even conceded. She was like, you know what, at the end of the day, you guys know adults, everyone gets their own key. I'm not going to be waiting up and checking and seeing who's home.
You can't
at this
lose
hour.
sleep at your age.
But a discussion is so important.
Set the alarms. They might use to still set the alarm.
You can set, you can set the alarm.
But it just means I'm going to come back and it's gonna go.
It's gonna go off, but then at some point you're gonna not set it.
Ours has like it has 2 settings. So you put the setting. If you know someone isn't home, you put a specific setting, so it won't go off automatically. It'll then go deep. Then you can hear, oh, someone's come home, and they disable it, then they enable it, and then they go sleep. So it's more of just have that discussion. Because your parents are also doing, like I've said this before, your parents are doing this parenting thing for the first time. So you, as well as the child, you should be like, dude, I mean, I don't know.
So you kind of have to hold their hand as well, you know? Because they're scared and they're doing it for the first time, like you said.
Give them grace, but not too much.
No, that's what I'm saying. Piss them off. Piss them off and they'll get over it. And then I actually think a discussion is so much easier. I won't lie. After that than before. I definitely think, like, because now this is a discussion to come to a compromise. And that's now a way easier discussion than starting from 6 o'clock to 3 a.m. There's, the middle ground there is really
There's no
9.
middle ground,
There is no middle ground. That will work. But then to say, okay, let's make a set of keys for everybody. Okay, this is how we're going to sort out the alarm system. Okay, this is what you is at least expected. Like, don't be coming in also making noise when your parents are not sleeping and you're drunk, and then you want to invite 5 of your friends to sleep over because your house is the closest. Like, don't do that. Like, also act like, if you want to be also treated like an adult, act like one. Don't call your mom at 3 a.m. Oh, I can't drive. Like, it's silly things like that you also have to.
How did you get there?
How did you get there? And I think you also can't be upset if I know a lot of parents who won't, for example, give out their cars. If you want to go out until 3 a.m., find your way there and find your way back. And if you can't make it back, at least communicate, listen, I'm going to go sleep at Anis's house and I'll come in the morning. But that's only if that's also acceptable, because some parents don't like the sleepover thing as well.
Ooh, that is an interesting chat as well. Like romantic relationships while you're at home. How do you navigate that?
What does that mean? No. What does that mean? Like sleepovers?
Yeah, let's say you're dating someone,
you're unmarried.
and let's say you're dating someone.
No,
and
just
you're
being in a
"Oh,
relationship outside of just like wanting to, just being in a relationship.
To what?
No,
I said
sleepovers.
sleepovers.
So I'm like, just outside
said
of wanting
sleepovers.
to go out
As
for
an
sleepovers.
unmarried person to your other person. No, come on. But in a relationship,
That cat video you posted, I remember it had a section where the kitty was now in a relationship and was trying to bring her kitty boyfriend home. And the parents were there.
come on. Also, respect people's space, please.
What do you mean?
I think the space should be respected. I think as much as I'm saying, for you to live independently, right? That does not mean you must also force silly things on your parents. And by that I mean, if you are dating,
But you can't bring your boyfriend home? Even if it's just for like, hi, come meet my mom, whatever.
no, if it's a situation where I know my mom. My mom, if I was to date someone, they've always come to my house to hang out. All right. You're not going to find them hanging out in my bedroom. You're not going to find us creeping and sneaking around my mom's house. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be just like, oh, come, they speak to my mom a little bit, hang out for a little bit. Okay, we're going to go sit by the veranda outside. Right? That gives us enough space, but that also isn't disrespectful to the household. But
And that's all
you're not
you can do, because you can't expect to do anything outside of that. Really.
That's what I'm saying.
So my chat is now, okay, Kuda, you've introduced your parents and everything. Are they open to you going on a couple
holiday?
Are they open? Are you able to say, I'm going with, what name can you, I'm going with Benjamin and not with the girls? I'm giving him a random name.
Benji.
So are you able to then express that? Okay, I live at home and everything. Mom, I'm going on a weekend.
And it happens. Like
with
sometimes you want to go to Joburg for the long weekend.
and I'm not going with the girls.
Yeah, I'm going with my Benjamin.
I think it depends on who your mothers are at this point. I want to say it depends on who your mom is. There are mothers that are cool with it. There are others
Very
that
few
will
who
not.
are cool with it. Very, very few. Others.
But at the same time, if you're the one that wants grandkids, you're the one that wants me to be married, you want the wedding, right? Where do you think it's coming from?
You'll be like, I have the come and chill in my veranda, but don't go
For a bender.
Yeah, don't go for the long weekend with this man. Come chill at the veranda. He can come every day of the long weekend and leave at night. But yeah, I'm just not going to Big Falls with this man.
Know your parents before you start that. Is all I'm going to say. Know who your parents are and what they're willing to accept.
But also, like, parents, just, like, I don't know.
That's why I say very few parents. That's why I'm asking. It's just a general question. Because you can say know your parents and all of this, but at the same time, you're past the age of 30.
Yeah.
When you date, you're not dating someone to come and chill by the veranda. That's like high school. Your man is going to say, oh, babes, I bought tickets to whatever, let's go. Or let's have a sleepover. Let's do this, and the other.
Then maybe that's the conversation you have to sit down and have with your parents.
That's another level.
That's another level. of
Do you have it at all?
My dad was just like, yo, we want grandkids. If they come through via marriage, if it just so happens that you just have a kid, like we'll take that too. I was like,
Do you know what? That's what my mom says.
Desperate for
That's what my mom says, right? But
She doesn't mean
tell her that I'm going to Vic Falls with a man. It'll be another thing. It'll be, I don't know, it'll just be another thing. But yet, maybe within the same conversation, she's already said, you know what, even if you were to have a child, it's okay. But then when it's now like in her face to say, I'm going away
to make the grandkid.
even if it's not to make the grandkids, but just to say like
To practice.
I'm just going away with this person who is a man. In her head, she's gonna think that that's
what you're doing.
that's what I'm doing, and then it's gonna be another chat altogether.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's an iffy place to navigate. But at the same time, I think what we've said in terms of talk to your parents, push the boundaries.
Make your own money.
Yeah, make your own money.
That's so
Damn, make your own money, make your own path. And hopefully they'll be able to respect that. And yeah.
I have one last question. Is it a failure to be at home still past a certain age, past 25? And when does it become a failure to be at home?
I think we have been failed by this country.
Yeah. I don't think it's a reflection of you as a person and where your goals
So it's
are.
more survival.
I think it depends. In a general statement, I don't think it's a failure at any age. However,
At any age.
I don't think it's a failure.
I don't know.
But that's hence what I said. I think it depends because I think your efforts will determine whether or not it is a personal failure. In terms of the country is bad, I understand. The job market is horrendous, right? But we also know that we can't sit at home and say the job market is bad, the country's bad, so I'm just going to chill here until hopefully one day something changes. And I think your efforts to mitigate your own problems become your personal failure or success. And I mean that where if you are a person who maybe can't get a formal job or, you've tried, you do have your goals and you're trying, to do something and you spend your whole day working on something and at least the people you're living with can say, you know what, you can genuinely see the effort this person's making.
Then it's not a failure.
Then it's not. But where it is a situation where you've also given up and you're just like, take care of me, please, parents. Thank you. This is, when you turn around and say, I didn't even ask to be here and there's nothing that I can do. I'm just going to sit and you guys take care of me. Then that becomes your personal failure.
I think it's a responsibility thing because like if you're at home and maybe you're like maybe on drugs, drunk all the time, you're actually a nuisance or you're just like a menace, it's like on some level that's definitely a failure because you're not responsible for your life. And I think as an adult, no matter what situation you are, adulthood is kind of about responsibility. Like what are you actually contributing to your family, to community, etc., etc., because we do live in a society. Because even if you're not even staying at home, let's just say like you can even be just like a terrible tenant, wherever you are, just in the apartment, like you're late on rent, etc. So it's just a responsibility thing.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's a very context driven type of answer. For some people, it can be a failure where it's like you have no reason, you're kind of stuck in a certain spot, and the things that are holding you back are actually in your mind. And in some cases, it's an active decision, because even like from the conversations here, the majority of us are still at home, and it sounds like a well thought out and well reasoned decision that was made for certain reasons that exist. I don't think, because all of us have been talking about even times when you thought about leaving or you could have left, and probably that's still a possibility, but you've made certain adult decisions, which is fine. So I think it would be wrong to just call it a failure outright. But I think just the rate of it isn't good. We should be in an environment where you can move out and have your apartment and still take care of home and still be able to visit your parents and, have it all. But yeah.
It is.